hydrangea flopping tips today. So I signed in just a little bit earlier. I saw there were a few people that were waiting to jump on in. Can you guys let me know if the audio is okay? Because I'm mic'd up with a different mic this morning. So if you could just give me either a thumbs up or a little comment in chat, that would be great. And for some reason last week my chat wasn't working. So I couldn't see all the comments until after the video was published, like at a later time. So I hope that that's not the case today. If you can, let me know where you're viewing this from. I love seeing where you guys are coming in from and watching from all over the world. And I actually have my assistant making a map of all the places that the Flower Tribe members have checked in from over the last few years. And it's amazing. You guys are like on every continent. You're all over the place. Oh, awesome. Thank you that. Carlindia Laughlin, how do you encourage them to bloom? All right, super question. So it depends on the type of hydrangea. So these are Annabelle Hydrangeas. I literally ignore these guys and they bloom like this. Hey, Rachel, nice to see you from Kentucky. Other hydrangeas sometimes need a recharge, so sometimes you do need to prune them, but you have to make sure that you prune them at the right time of year. So if you were to give this bush a recharge, you would do it in the beginning of spring. But it's not even necessary because look at the crazy blooms on this plant. And my endless summer, I usually don't prune back either unless they're just not performing well. And sometimes your hydrangeas just aren't blooming because they're too young. My mother-in-law has a hydrangea that's like 2 years old and it only has like 1 or 2 blooms and she's so frustrated. I'm like, no, you have to give it some time. But I made a whole playlist of videos and about hydrangea care, and one of the videos is why isn't my hydrangea blooming? And I give 7 tips showing you how to get it to bloom or to try to figure out why. Sometimes it has to do with the water. Sometimes it has to do from with the sunshine. So take a look at that. Hey, Verna. Oh, thank you. I'm glad you like the hydrangeas. Okay, great. Well, I'm glad you guys can hear me. And let me know if for some reason the audio cuts out. And okay, so let's just go. So Kathy, you're just learning about hydrangeas. Oh, you're tuning in from Nova Scotia, Canada. Terrific. Love it. Missouri. Betsy, thanks for joining us from Missouri. I love it. I love seeing you guys popping in from all over the country and all over the world. We had a few people from Malaysia and Iraq last week and Iran and like all these faraway places. So it's really fun. And a lot of people from New Jersey. I love my New Jersey and my New York people. Oh, thanks for checking in, Sharon from Virginia, Farnham, Virginia. I think we have some new places we have to put on our map. Your Incredibles are flopped over. Yes, from Unionvale, New York. Elizabeth. Same thing with my Annabelles. I'm actually surprised your Incredibles are flopped over. So here's the story, guys. I want to give you a quick tip right up front. These are like the traditional Annabelle hydrangeas, and I absolutely love them. I've had them here for 15 years. The only complaint I have about them is that they have these floppy stems. So these gals come in on new growth every year, and I usually don't prune them back. Sometimes I will if like the deer get at them, but this is what the stems look like. They're totally green. They're totally brand new. Hey, from Georgia. Hey, Susie Q. Oh, I love that, Susie Q. So these green stems are super floppy, and they've got these giant white heads on them. And so what happens when the rain hits them, and we had some insane weather here in New Jersey this week. We had crazy thunderstorms blowing in, and they knocked everything to the ground. But Incredible, which is a similar looking hydrangea, they're from Proven Winners. I actually wanted to tell you about them. I'm so glad you brought that up. They have a stronger, sturdier stem. So Proven Winners sent me over a boatload of Incredible hydrangeas. And once again, their story is they look like Annabelles. They have these big, beautiful, gorgeous, fluffy heads. They're super easy to maintain. You don't have to prune them back, but their stems are a lot sturdier. So, I mean, listen, if you have a bloom that has like a hydrangea stem this big, then chances are, no matter how sturdy the stem is and all the rain hits it, it's going to come crashing down. But I think your chances of having them stay up longer are better with Proven Winners Incredible. So, but I'll keep you posted on that. But I see that on all the blogs, all the gardening channels, and everybody's like raving about them. So I gave them a shot. I planted them this year. They're brand new. So I will keep you posted on their progress. I saw a whole bunch of people just now coming in from Canada. Oh, hi, Esme. Oh, you're welcome for explaining the difference. Okay, so that's the story between Incredible Hydrangea and Annabelle. They look the same, but Incredible seems to be like the newer, stronger kid on the block. So I have a whole bunch of tips for you guys to show you how to get these guys sturdy. And I guess like the number one tip, well, I'll start with the easiest first. So I came out here yesterday and we had a photo shoot going on with Vanessa Joy and Dennis Reggie, who happened to have filmed JFK's wedding. Hello, like these two photographers came to my house, and I'm friends with Vanessa Joy, and she said she's bringing a very famous photographer to do like a bridal shoot at my house. And I said, oh, I've got this row of hydrangeas. They're white, they're Annabelles, it'll look really pretty. And I came out here right before they showed up, and this is the quick, easy thing that I did. I'm so glad that I did this trick. So I came out here, I didn't have much time. I basically just took the hydrangeas that were flopped over, and I started propping them up against each other. They literally started supporting each other because not only do they have gigantic flower heads, they've got gigantic leaves. So I came out here, I didn't have much time. I knew that there were like videographers coming, you know, the bride's coming, her groom's coming. Her name is Nikki Rose. She's absolutely beautiful. She came here with her husband, Matt. They are actually a married couple. And so they came in full attire, and I'm like, oh my God, how am I going to get these hydrangeas to look fabulous fast? And I literally crisscrossed them. So I crisscrossed them off the ground, and I just went like hydrangea by hydrangea, crisscrossed them, and then what I did was I took the ones that looked really crummy, because let's face it, when you have like a torrential, crazy rainstorm, some of them aren't going to make it. And this is one guy, let me see where I saw like a bent stem. Sometimes you get these bent stems, and if they look like this, if it's totally bent over, this guy's really wiggly. It's not sturdy anymore. It's totally like broken in half. I know the stem's not going to come back. And I know it's super, super, super heavy. So what I did was I just came in here and I cut all those guys out. I just gave it a trim like right at the cut. Sorry, right at the bend. So once I alleviated all that weight from the bottom of the plant, they started like popping up on their own. And another thing that I did, and this is one of my favorite hydrangea tips of all time, and I actually made a live video on this last week, you can propagate your hydrangeas to make more plants for free by doing this tip. And it's going to do two things. You're going to get more hydrangeas for free, and you're also going to help your plant spring back up. So I took a look at the bottom of the plant, and I found some really super, super heavy branches. Like this guy was super heavy. He's got a giant flower head. He was weighing this whole plant down. And what I did was I stripped the leaves from the bottom. So disregard this rock for 1 minute. I'm going to tell you what it's there for. I actually stripped all the leaves that came here. I made sure this is like a sturdy stem. It didn't snap. It didn't break. And I stripped those leaves. And then I'm doing like a reverse thing here. Let me just get rid of this guy for a second. Hold on. Get rid of this leaf. I took my fingernail and I scratched the bottom of this. I just scratched off like a whole bunch of like the outer layer of the stem. And then I dug a little hole with my hand. I buried the stem. I put a whole bunch of dirt on top. It's hard to do to recreate this with one hand. But anyway, I buried it with a whole bunch of dirt, and then I put a rock on top. And what is going to happen to this plant is it's going to start to have roots in a couple weeks. And this is also an important step. I want to cut off that flower head, because I don't want the plant to have to worry about supporting this flower head. I don't want my plant to spend any energy having it go to seed. I only want the plant to make a lot of food using these green leaves that I kept intact on the front of the upper side of the stem. So it's important not to strip these leaves, because remember photosynthesis from like high school science? The plant needs to continue to feed itself, and it's going to wind up growing roots right about here. And by the end of the season, this is going to be its own separate plant. And what I recommend doing is leaving this whole stem in place, and then like next spring, you can kind of just sever it here, leave it in the ground for another few weeks, and then you can move this brand new Annabelle or Incredible hydrangea anywhere that you want. So that was kind of, sorry, just like a whole playlist from last week, but I couldn't resist, because there were so many people that we had. I think we had so many people, like 10,000 people were like, checking out this tip. So that's another thing you could do. So now you just alleviated a lot of weight from the plant by propagating some of those and cutting off those heavy, heavy heads, because these are super heavy. So another thing that you're going to do while you're down here is you're going to just cut off the stems that look kind of crummy. Like this guy, he's just kind of beat up, he's crummy. I'm just gonna cut some of those like crummy branches right off. And now the plant's gonna start to spring up. And then I had a whole bunch of hydrangeas that actually started to like turn brown on the bottom. I cut a lot of those, but if they're turning brown and mushy, let me try to find a better one for you here. Or they're kind of misshapen, like they're not round anymore, I just kind of trim those off too, and then the plant started standing up. But here's like the number one tip if you have like a super heavy Annabelle hydrangea or incredible bush that kind of dropped to the ground. I inserted dowels over here. So I have a wooden dowel in here, and I have a wooden dowel over here, and it's on like either side. I took a look at like the base of the plant. I put it on the outside of one of the plants, and then I lifted these super heavy branches up. I lifted up about 6 or 7 of them that were really strong. They still looked good. Nobody was broken. Nobody was floppy. And I just tied some twine around the dowels. You see my dowel back there? So the twine goes around the dowels and it goes around all the stems of the plant. And then I literally just made a bow, like I'll make a double bow out of this. And this lifted all those super, super, super heavy gals. And so now the plant's gonna stay upright for the rest of the season, and these beautiful flower heads are gonna wind up turning green, and they're gonna be beautiful, and they make for a beautiful dried flower arrangement also. So guys, another quick tip that you can do is use zip ties. I swear, I use zip ties or duct tape at least once a day. It can like fix anything. So I just have some zip ties. I put like 3 or 4 of these really strong, sturdy branches together, and they're kind of supporting each other with this little zip tie. And I have it loose. I don't want them to be too close together because then you're going to wind up having like mildew issues. So I let them have a lot of space in between them, but now they're not sitting on the ground anymore. They're not getting moldy. And as they start to dry out, they're going to start to stand up even more. So that's another great tip. And what you could do, oh, I'm glad you guys are giving me some comments here. It makes me know that I'm still alive. Can you also tie up hydrangeas that are in a pot? Yes, definitely. What I would do for the pot, that's a super question. I would use bamboo sticks because they're smaller. You don't need those big, giant, clunky things. And I actually have some here because I wanted to show you that. So I'm glad you reminded me. So here's some bamboo sticks, and you could just like put them, you know, in your pot like this on either side of your plant, and then just tie up that plant with the string around it. So that's like another super easy one. Another thing you can do is in the beginning of the season, you can put like a tomato cage at the base of the plant when the blooms haven't come in yet, when that new growth hasn't started. And then as those stems start to grow, they're gonna come up through that tomato cage, or you can also use like a peony support, like one of those peony rings, and the plant will start coming up through that ring. And that peony cage or that tomato cage will provide extra support at the base of the plant that will hold up those super crazy hydrangea blooms. Somebody said somebody used bamboo sticks with vinyl stretchy ties. Perfect, Adrienne. I love that. Adrienne Noel has a great tip. You can use that stretchy fabric tape, which does the same job, and it's super easy to work with. So you can use that. You can use string around them. You can use zip ties around them. So whatever you have. I'm a big fan of using, you know, like what you have. Like what do you have to work with? You don't have to go out and buy new stuff. Take a look what's in your garage. Take a look what's in like your shed and use what you got. And I wanted to thank an anonymous Flower Tribe member for buying today's cup of caffeine. So this makes my day. If you guys like my flower tips and you wanted to support my channel, I have a link in descriptions below where you can buy me a cup of coffee. So thank you, anonymous Flower Tribe member. I appreciate that. And so what else did I want to show you guys today? I had a whole boatload of things to show you. Oh, I wanted to tell you about this milkweed in back of this plant over here. So milkweed, can you guys kind of see it? I'm trying to zoom in without losing my my connection here. That's milkweed, believe it or not. I know it looks like a big weed. I've got monarch butterflies all over the place this year because this milkweed just completely like seeded itself last year. I bought some at Home Depot. It reseeded itself. I have about 50 plants now, and that back garden, I hope you could see it, has a few butterfly bushes and about 25 milkweed plants, and I come out here, there are monarch butterflies all over the place. So if you're looking for a great pollinator garden tip, plant some milkweed and just get ready to watch those butterflies. It's a great idea to have a pollinator garden if you have kids or grandkids. So that's the story there. Oops, somehow I lost my screen. Hold on, guys, bear with me here. Oh, thanks, Betsy, for the saying it's a good idea. And let me see what else I wanted to let you guys know. Guys, please make sure that you join us over on my Kelly Lehman's Flower Tribe Facebook group page because there's gardeners from all over the world and they're posting pictures of their own beautiful flowers there and they're asking and answering tons of garden questions there. So I appreciate you guys showing up there because I can't always get to the hundreds of questions that I'm asked each week. I do love that you guys keep putting your questions and comments. Please keep doing that. I do try to tackle a whole bunch of those, but for the ones I don't get to, the Flower Tribe has been answering them on the Kelly Lehman's Flower Tribe Facebook group. Someone said, when is the best time of year? I think it was for fertilizing. You know what, guys? It kind of depends, I think, on like your soil. It depends on where you live. It depends on your hydrangea. I'm not a huge fertilizer. Like, I don't think I fertilized this hydrangea row ever. These guys, once I got them in the ground and they started like, taking off, it was just like amazing. They just like took off. I made sure that they had enough water for the first 2 or 3 years, and I haven't applied any fertilizer. I did do compost, like I would put a little compost. I would put some wood mulch to keep the weeds back and to keep the moisture in place. And other than that, these guys weren't fertilized at all. I know other gardeners like to fertilize in spring, and some people like to use, believe it or not, rose food. And other people like to use, I'm trying to think what are some of the other popular ones. Oh, I'm having a senior moment. I can't think. I think Hollytone. So, but I have to double check that fact. But like I said, I'm not a huge fertilizer. If you guys have some great fertilizers that you like to use, let me know in comments below. I love when you guys share your knowledge. You guys have so much knowledge. It's crazy. What about Epsom salt? Betsy, I've seen that recommended for both hydrangeas and roses. One of our Flower Tribe members said that I think it was like her mother would apply Epsom salt to their roses every year, and they were like 7 feet tall. So I don't know, like, what's your experience, guys? Like, who else uses Epsom salt in their gardens? Anybody have some good luck with that? Please say hi to us also on our Cranberry Fields Instagram channel. I have links to all these, places to come visit us in descriptions below. And I made you guys a free PDF drop-down file to tell you about 4 must-have flowers to grow in your garden. And so, hey, Nikki Rose, there's our model. If you guys want to see like one of the most beautiful people, check out Nikki Rose. She just commented. She was my beautiful bride. And it was so cute. Her and her husband pull up, and I'm like, oh, are you the model? Yeah. Oh, I love the dress. Where'd you get it? She goes, oh, this was my wedding dress. I'm like, really? So she just looked absolutely spectacular. We're going to post these pictures from the photo shoot soon, I hope. It was so cool. I mean, both Nikki and I were saying, oh my God, like this Dennis Reggie is like this huge deal. Like he's the #1 photographer of weddings in the world. I can't believe we're here with him right now. So we're going to take a look at some of his pictures with Vanessa Joy, who's incredible. She's also like totally famous. And I can't believe they were all sitting here. So like Nikki Rose was right here yesterday, right where I'm standing. So that was super cool. Let me try to catch some more of your garden questions. I'm sorry, sometimes I didn't catch them quick enough. I'll try to answer a few more while you guys are here. And I have something else really exciting to tell you guys. I have my online course is just about ready to be published. So I have a series of 3 courses. One of them is how to grow like flowers for a cutting garden. And one of them is for annual flowers. The second course is how to grow perennial flowers for a cutting garden. And the third course is how to make arrangements from the flowers that you grow in your garden. So if you're interested in getting those online courses when they're actually published, just, give me a shout out in comments below. Let me know and I'll put you on our list. And if you want to get on the list instantly, just when you go for that PDF file that I have in descriptions for must-have flowers for your garden, if you just insert your email there, you'll automatically get notifications for the online courses that are coming up. So, of course, I was talking as those other questions came in. Sorry about that, guys. Listen, I'm like a New York, Jersey girl. Like, that's what we do. Like, we talk. So I'm going to try to listen this time and see if I can catch a couple more questions. So if you can, repeat those questions there, and hopefully I can grab a few more before we take off today. And so, guys, check out Nikki Rose's Instagram, and also check out Vanessa Joy and Dennis Reggie. Nikki, I have to tell you, this makes me really excited to work with my garden. Oh, I love Nikki because in the middle of like this photo shoot and everyone's giving her like direction, she's like, what are those hydrangeas called? I love them. What do we do? Sign up on Facebook? Oh, hey, Betsy. Basically, if you want to go over to Facebook, first of all, please go over to the Kelly Lehman's Flower Tribe Facebook group because lots of information is there. But to sign up for these online courses or just to get information for them, go to the drop down. And on this video, so if you go to descriptions, it'll say my free gift to you, like my free PDF. Once you insert your email there, you'll be on my email mailing list for all my online courses. Do I give tours? I'm so sorry we don't. Sometimes I will do garden tour. I'll open up the farm to like friends like Vanessa Joy, who I've been friends with for years. But other than that, we live on the farm, so we don't do tours at this point. Someone just asked questions about yellowing leaves on their limelight. It may be too much water. You're welcome, Betsy. You may have too much water on your limelight. Sometimes they'll get really brown. They'll start turning yellow. And I know that I'm not sure where you were from, the person that asked us that question. We've had so much rain here at one shot that sometimes the plants can't absorb it all. So it might just be a matter of the plant just having to drain a little bit more. Give it some time. Be patient. Limelights are so strong and so sturdy that even if the leaves are yellow, I think there's a good chance they're going to come back once things start drying out. And guys, take a look at some of the other videos I have that tell you how to grow beautiful hydrangeas. Oh, you're welcome, Kim. Thank you for saying thank you. In Indianapolis, and thank you for checking in from Indianapolis. So yeah, I have, I think, like 15, 16 videos showing you guys how to grow crazy hydrangeas. Hey, Michelle from Michigan. Oh, you have a bobo. Oh, I'm sorry. I just lost your comment. I got to figure out how to work this better. When's the best time to cut for drying blooms? I love that question, Betsy. Oh my God. Okay, so the best time to cut these Annabelle hydrangeas is when they start looking like the green one over here. Hey, California, thanks for checking in from Central California. So these green guys are a much better stage to cut than this white fluffy guy. If you cut your Annabelle or your Incredible hydrangeas when they're white and fluffy and gorgeous like this, they're going to flop after about 2 days. Now, I made Nikki Rose a wedding bouquet out of these guys yesterday. They were really pretty. We love them. But they're only going to last about 2 days because they're just not, I don't know, they just don't have a great phase life. However, if you can wait until they turn green, and right now this is like a light shade of green, this plant at the end of July is mind-blowing. It will turn deep lime green. It's absolutely stunning. And the petals will feel almost like paper. And then what you do is you will cut the stem, put it in some water. You're going to leave it away from direct sunlight. You're going to leave it in like a cool room. And the plant, like this flower head, will actually dry to a dried flower. So I've got these Annabelle hydrangea heads all over my house in fall, even through Christmas and January, as dried green flower heads, and they're stunning. And what I'll do is I'll spray paint them. There's something called floral spray paint. And I have links to that. I have an Amazon shop page that's also in descriptions below. It's called Amazon shop page, Kelly Lehman. And you can spray paint them green again as they start to fade, like by next spring. So that's the best florist power tip that I can give you. Get a hold of some of those florist spray paints that I have in descriptions below. Hop over to my Amazon shop page, and I have them. I think it's in like florist supplies or florist tools or florist gijamagoos. I think that's my title of like the name. But that's one of my favorite florist power tips is to cut them in the green stage. If you cut them when they're green and they're just coming out, they're going to flop. Oh, too many questions came in at once. Sorry. Take off the leaves. Yes, Kimberly Murphy. Thank you. Bless you. Kimberly Murphy says take off the leaves when they're drying. And the reason she's giving this advice is because as the plant's drying out in the vase, you don't want it to have to worry about hydrating like all these leaves. And these leaves are going to dry up and get super ugly. So when you come in here to cut them when they're nice and green at the end of July, beginning of August, you're going to cut them down. You're going to leave some of these green leaves on the stem. So I would trim it about here. I always leave extra leaves on my plants when I cut them for cut flower arrangements because I want the plant to continue to feed itself so it has energy to come back next year. But what I will do is, like Kimberly said, I will strip off these top leaves. Because number one, you don't want these leaves to hit the vase water. That causes bacteria and it will make your flowers flop prematurely. And you don't want that water to have to worry about taking care of the leaves when you want it to kind of just keep that flower head nice and fluffy as it's drying out. So yeah, super fun to dry out hydrangeas. One of my favorite things to do. And in this flower course that I made for you guys, I show you how to make terrific flower arrangements out of peonies and out of like sunflowers and out of all these crazy flowers. And actually, at our photo shoot yesterday, I had peonies that I had cut from my flower farm back in May. And what I did was I used the dry cut method because I knew that I was going to want them later on in the season because something big always pops up in the summer here at the flower farm. And I'm always like, oh, I wish I had my peonies from May. So what I did was I took my peonies from the flower field, I cut them, and I put them in craft paper. The stems did not touch water. And that's called like a flower farmer dry cut method. And once I wrapped them in craft paper, I put them in my refrigerator. And I literally left them alone until 2 days ago. It was like July 6th or July 5th. And then I took them out of the refrigerator. I unwrapped the craft paper off of them. I cut the stems by 2 inches and I popped them in water. And they burst open. They were beautiful. Nikki, I don't know if you remember seeing them. They were like in that little post office box silver thing. But there were tons of peonies at our photo shoot yesterday. It was July 7th was the photo shoot. And we had peonies next to my giant dahlias. So that's kind of a crazy scene. But I made a video for you guys showing you this. So if you take a look at my Kelly Lehman YouTube channel playlist, I have a whole bunch of peony care tips too. And I show you exactly how to do the peony dry cut method. So, oh, Nikki, you remember seeing them? Oh, great. So that's one of my favorite peony tips, that you can have peony blooms in July. So check that out if you're interested. I also have a whole sunflower playlist where I show you guys how to grow crazy sunflowers. And DutchBulbs.com sent me over like these crazy like double daffodil blooms, crazy purple alliums, and I have a whole bunch of flower tips on those too, and those will all be in my course also. So I love alliums, they're terrific. So if you guys don't mind, just check in real quick, either give me a thumbs up if you like the video, please let me know where you're viewing this from if you haven't done so already, and even if the live chat ends, please just come back and visit us in comments if any questions come up. And let's see, also growing Annabelle in the Ukraine. Oh, I love that. I love when you guys are like across the pond and on different continents and in different countries. I don't know why, it just makes my heart like just swell knowing that you guys are all over the planet. It's just it just feels right. So I will let you know what that flower tribe map looks like very soon. My assistant Anna, who I adore, is working hard on that. There are so many places. She's like, this is crazy. I'm like, I know, how are we going to show this? And please check us out one more time at the Kelly Lehman's Flower Tribe Facebook group. And I think that's it. I will see you guys in the next video. And it's too hot for Lucy to be out here today. I'm sorry, guys. I know everybody wants to see Lucy, but it was just too hot. But I'll try to have her out next week. Have a great day, Flower Tribe.